Yikes. This lighting is not doing me any favor. That's okay. Yes. ChatGPT. Is it technically Gemini because it was Google? Well, people know the name ChatGPT better than Gemini. So, ChatGPT helped me get over my ex. Maybe. We'll see. It all started quite innocent. My ex introduced me to astrocartography. Even though I've always been a gently leaning astrology girly, I've never been super deep like some other people, like some of my friends. But it's always really intrigued me. Just fundamentally, really. So, anyway, I went on my chart, my astrocartography chart, because my ex is pretty obsessed with moving close to the lines that, whatever it is that you want in your life, abundance, growth, yada yada. So I was kind of doing my own investigation, because what I was really realizing that I'm craving for this year is kind of healing and growth. And yeah, anyway, so I was using AI to help me understand the meaning of some lines and also the symbols. And then somehow I started going down a rabbit hole about, maybe it was about ideal partners, because maybe I started to get curious because they mentioned Gemini, which my 10-year relationship was with a Gemini. And I started to think, oh yeah, I've been with quite a few Geminis, which is sort of interesting to me. Is that pattern something that, the astrology world says, yes, that's a great match. And then, of course, AI is super good at asking you leading questions. So, I start answering about my rising and my Venus and my moon. And then I started to get curious about, I wonder what it would say if I told AI what his chart elements are. And I did, and oh my god, it was actually pretty mind-blowing. And I do think there's a little bit of an element of, okay, ChatGPT knows this is your ex, so, they're kind of trying to, I don't know if they program into it to talk like it's your best friend. It's like, well, the relationship didn't work because he didn't do this, this, and this. And obviously, no one person is ever entirely to blame. But still, a lot of the things that it said felt very validating. And a friend had recently told me that they had a breakup, I don't know, maybe 4 months ago. And they said that ChatGPT has been so helpful. I think they feel a little bit ashamed about this, but that ChatGPT has been super helpful for them in getting over their breakup and everything they were going through. They, because of the community that they're in, hadn't really been able to get away from this person, so having that kind of important post-breakup space wasn't possible for them at the time. But recently she ended up deciding that what was going on was not good for her, and so she separated herself from the community and went to a different state. So anyway, yeah, she when she expressed this to me, it almost felt like she seemed like it was a dirty little secret. But I totally get it, it's obviously not a human. So you completely free yourself of the element of judgment, of feeling like, this person's going to judge you, A, for asking what you're asking, B, for incessantly asking what you're asking. And C, even asking for clarification. Sometimes I think we all don't want to ask for clarification for various reasons. So anyway, I was just feeling really bummy today, and then I started down this rabbit hole, and yeah, it just made me feel so much better. And just in the ways that, based on our charts, ChatGPT described him, and then described me, and then described our incompatibilities. And I think I've always been somebody who leans so much towards a very kind of logical, yeah, if you're a Star Trek fan like I am, real Vulcan like sometimes, but yeah, and I'm someone that learns very well from emulation, and yeah, I obviously am very strong also in STEM subjects with that as my foundation. So I appreciated the approach, and I found it so interesting. And like the very first thing I want to do is like run to my ex with the the text and just be like, "Oh my god, read this." But in actuality, I really need to stop and not do that. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that little tidbit. I really felt like I benefited from it. So it's always wonderful to talk to a friend if that's available, obviously. But if you're anything like me, and I can really struggle sometimes to reach out to people, to feel like I'm a burden to others in some way, or that it would be a lot for me to ask for support from certain people. So in some ways, I think even though it's a computer and it's an algorithm, by exercising that through I still feel like I kind of exercised the need, because I don't know, it almost sometimes feels like you're talking to a person. Obviously, that's why some people end up having deep emotional connections with AI. So anyway, that is really it for today. And whether or not you care about astrology or not is besides the point. You can ask all the questions you want in the world and feed all the information you want into AI, and you might also benefit from it. So I don't know, give it a try or don't. Do what you want. But if you made it this far, please subscribe, leave a comment, like, yeah, okay, see you later.